Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to the show. We are on to our last interview, so that means we're on to our last two episodes. All previous links will be down in the description below. I've had an amazing time doing these interviews, editing them, posting them on here. I can't wait to do it again. Not to sound all doom and gloom, of course we do have Mike's interviews still to come. I've got a few more things in the pipeline. On the mic with Mike, I'll call you in that before he does. And I don't have anything here to show you, so I'll put something digitally here of who I'm interviewing today. The gentleman that I'm interviewing today is also the sponsor for today's video. The LKS Dojo is an online professional wrestling school, if you like. Again, there'll be a little part in the middle of the video, like there always is, with an explanation of what the LKS Dojo is, who is LKS at that matter. Lou King Sharp is today's interviewee. I've known Lou for a while now, and he's an absolutely incredible professional wrestler. Travelled the world, still very young, barely even in his prime. Sky's the limit, so without further ado, welcome to the last interview, but the second last episode of On Air with FPI. Welcome back, everyone. Today I'm joined by Lou King Sharp. Lou, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, mate. I'm looking forward to doing the show. It's good to be doing something for Forbidden Planet. I've been going to Forbidden Planet for years since I was a wee boy. My dad used to take me.
That's greatly appreciated. Thank you for fitting us into your schedule. Just briefly, in your own words, could you let our viewers know who you are? Who is Lou King Sharp?
So I'm the blood tourist Lou King Sharp. I'm an independent professional wrestler. I've been travelling the world since 2013. So far, I've hit 11 countries. I'm from Glasgow, Scotland, but I've been as far as Shanghai in China, and I'm looking to keep doing what I'm doing, keep conquering the world, and go as far as the journey will take me.
Fantastic. So when did professional wrestling pull you in? Who introduced you?
So my uncle was like a hardcore wrestling fan, like probably like internet kind of forums, into like all that kind of stuff. So I kind of had a different introduction to from what most people would have. Obviously, most people kind of just stumble across WWE, on TV, or maybe they've got a family member who watches WWE. But the first experience of wrestling that I ever seen was ECW, because my uncle was watching some ECW DVDs. And of course he wouldn't let me watch the full show, but he let me see some of it. And I remember vividly my first memory of wrestling is watching Sabu put himself through a table. I can't remember specifically what show it is, but I just remember putting himself through a table and just thinking that it was wild. You know what I mean? And I mind that really sort of caught my eye. But obviously he wasn't going to keep into he wasn't going to let me keep watching ECW, so he introduced me to WWE. Right away, I was in love with guys like Rey Mysterio. The Hurricane was someone that caught my eye, and I'm sure a lot of people who watch this channel probably the Hurricane caught their eye at a young age as well, as a superhero character. But yeah, I liked Spider-Man and all that kind of stuff. I like comic books, so you know what I mean. The Hurricane was the kind of natural one, as was Rey Mysterio as well. I think it was something about the mask, because I think that's the case for a lot of kids. The masks really draw them in. But that was the two for me: Rey Mysterio and the Hurricane. Later on, guys like Eddie Guerrero, and as I kind of got introduced to the British scene, I started watching a lot of guys like Rockstar Spud and stuff. But that's how it started for me.
Fantastic. And when did you physically get into wrestling? So when did you start training?
So I think it was either 12 or just about to turn 12. So I was really, really young compared to most people. I remember showing up And the kind of average age of the class was probably about 25. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Obviously, I was this young kid, and there was other people there on the first day and stuff. You know what I mean? But there was it was all grown men, and it's a lot more common now. For younger people to start wrestling. I teach 2 kids classes a week, and it's primary school kids and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
it's good that it's went that way, but certainly when I started, it really wasn't a thing. So it was intimidating being so young, but at the same time, I think I was so eager, and I'd been waiting for it for as long as I could remember. I'd always wanted
Yeah.
to be a wrestler. I'd kind of grown up around wrestling, like I said, with my uncle and stuff, and just constantly being surrounded by it was all I've ever really wanted to do. So as soon as I got the chance, I was right in there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, when exactly did you debut? Like,
So I debuted in November 2013. I was
wow,
15 years old. I wrestled Kerry Williams in a church in Coatbridge.
fantastic.
Yeah,
How,
yeah.
how did it go?
It went well. It went a lot better than what what I thought it was gonna. Um, I'll never forget that sort of feeling of as soon as I went through the curtain, I just sort of went numb,
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. And it was just a blur. And I mean, since then, it's still very much the same experience each time you go out. You know what I mean? That was
yeah,
just it's very memorable. Obviously, the first time where you just as soon as you're out there, it's just you know what I mean, and it's gone. But it went as well as a debut could have went, in my opinion. Um, everything went fine. I done the DX crotch chop at one point when I went up for a frog splash. Kind of makes me cringe watching back on it. But at the time, I thought I was the man. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
that's what
absolutely.
matters. And I had a lot of family there. I think about family and friends. I think about 30 of them turned out for it. So that was, and in a church in Coatbridge, that's half the crowd. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So I was getting a good reaction for everything I done. So even if it was rotten, I would never have been able to tell.
yeah, yeah, fantastic. That's brilliant. I think it was really early in your career. It might even have been in, that first kind of year or two. You started appearing on Pro Wrestling Elite,
Yeah.
and you were very, very fortunate enough to be tag team champion with not only one of the best Britain's ever had to offer, but 2 of them. So if you could just tell us a little bit of what it was like teaming and working alongside the late Chris Travis and, of course, the late Lionheart.
Getting to work with those guys at such a young age is an incredible opportunity for any wrestler. Obviously, I was incredibly privileged to be in the position that I was. Um, I mean, I got into PWE off of a fan vote.
Mm-hmm.
It was for they done like a rumble show each year, and I just kind of got in. They would give one spot to the fans could vote in, like a kind of trainee at the time. And it ended up myself and Kenny Williams it came out like a draw, so we both ended up in it. Um, so yeah, it was like I really was a case of just kind of getting lucky. Adrian took a liking to me, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of I always had a big turnout from the family and friends and stuff, and so I was always getting good reactions. Um, at, at the PWE shows and stuff. Eventually, it gives me the shot to get the tag titles. Eventually I won them on my own originally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I had kind of rotating tag partners. So I tagged Martin Kirby. Obviously I tagged with Chris Travis, which led into tagging with Lionheart. I'll start with Chris Travis. I believe that came first.
Mm-hmm.
Was a tag with Chris Travis. He was battling. He'd been battling cancer at the time, and he was coming back. And this was one of his first matches back. So it was a lot of pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever felt under so much pressure in a match up until that point. And it was just one of those days where everything's just gone a bit tits up. You know what I mean? Everything's just gone a bit wrong. So the 2 guys that we were wrestling, I'd been working on the holiday parks. I was in one car, and the other 2 guys, I was tagging with Travis, obviously, and the other 2 guys were in a separate car. So my car got there okay, the other car got stuck in traffic. So we're talking through the match and stuff just as my music's playing. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
really didn't have a lot of time, and
Wow.
a lot of it was just called in there. And I'll just never forget how it was me, David Blaze, and TJ Rage, and the 3 of us, for lack of a better term, didn't know our arse for our elbow. And he just kept us right the whole time. He's just it was just an absolute pro. Do you know what I mean? Just really brilliant. I remember there's a picture from at the end of the match, and I'm hugging him. And it looks like this kind of nice picture. You know, it is a nice picture, obviously. But I'm just like, I remember like hugging him so tight and going, I'm so sorry. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean? I was freaking out that you know, that I'd botched all of this match. So or at least I felt I did. Watching it back, it looks okay, and it looks okay because he was such a pro and because he kept us all right, and you know what I mean, put us where we needed to be. I just remember at one point we're each in a corner and he's just standing in the middle of the ring, quietly enough that no one's hearing him as well. You know what I mean? And he's telling they two where they need to be. He's telling me where I need to be while getting himself where he needs to be. You know what I mean? And it was an excellent wrestler. It was like you know, obviously such a huge loss for British wrestling because the sort of new generation of British wrestling that's coming through would benefit so much from getting to learn from Trav. Obviously, there's a lot of the new generation coming through now that did get the chance to learn from Adrian, though.
Of course.
Adrian was obviously coaching at GPWA, so you know a lot of them are going to be carrying on, you know, the way that he worked, hopefully, and it's something that I try and hope to carry on as well. Try and remember, you know, how he portrayed himself, and try and portray myself in that same sort of way, because he always did carry himself as a star.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that was one of the reasons that he stood out. You know what I mean? He made you believe, even if it could have been Maple Town Hall, it could have been main event in the Hydro. He was the same guy who was, you know what I mean? He was a superstar everywhere he went. And that was one of the main things I remembered, like from tagging with him, just seeing how he carried himself and all that kind of stuff. And it was you know, an incredible learning experience. One story I always like to tell. I've told it a million times, and anybody who's listening to an interview with me before has more than likely heard it. But when I won the PWE tag team titles, I've been told about this like 6 months in advance. The boys had told me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he didn't know that I'd been told, kind of thing, and like, everyone would tell me, "Don't tell Adrian we told you," but you know, you're getting the belts. Well, and so I had to pretend to Adrian that I didn't know. And every time he seen me on the lead up to this, he would be like, "Get ready for March. Big things coming in March." You know what I mean? He's building all this suspense, and the whole time I know, you know what I mean? I'm trying to like keep my game face and stuff on. Eventually, I'm sitting backstage, and he just walks up, and he's got the run sheet in his hand, and just puts it at the side of me, and he walks away. You know, he swaggers away. And sure enough, I read it. You know what I mean? It's me, you know, going over winning the tag titles, and I had to be like, "Oh my god!" You know what I mean? Pretend I didn't know. And for as long as I knew him, I never told him that I knew the whole time. I never had the stomach to actually admit that I'd been told months in advance. Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's I love telling that story because it was he didn't have to do that. You know what I mean? He didn't have to. And as much as it sounds daft, he never had to do any of that. He never had to try and, because I was just a kid at the time. I was like 16, 17. He was just trying to get me excited. You know what I mean? Try to he knows that I've got this love for wrestling. You know what I mean? He's just try to encourage that. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do that. But that's the kind of guy he was. And like I said, in the way he carried himself, you could see how much he loved wrestling as well. You could see how much he, you know what I mean, loved what we do. Yeah. So it was a pleasure to be around him and experience that. And like I said, hopefully in my own career, I can sort of carry on the way that he carried himself in front of crowds, and you know, the kind of attitude and love that he had for wrestling. Hopefully I can instill that in the people that I'm teaching.
Absolutely. He'd be chuffed to bits. You can tell that. I mean, you can see a lot of Lionheart and a lot of the younger people, and it's as much as it's a bitter pill to swallow, it's lovely to see. You know, it was like a couple of weeks ago on Raw when you seen Viper with the band on. Yeah, that was stingy. But you know, keeps the memory there.
Like you said, it's bittersweet, but I know for a fact that if he wanted Eton, it would be for people to put him over. So that is, and that's what Absolutely. Everyone does, and that's what we'll continue to do, because like I said, he was an absolute star. And if you ask me, he's the he's the biggest superstar that Scottish wrestling's ever had.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll take a wee jump a few years into the future. Of course, you were very in your face, cocky heel in the beginning. You know, you had this week. I can never remember the wee catchphrase you had, but I know it ended with your mother's favourite wrestler.
Yeah.
How did your mother's favourite wrestler become the Blood Tourist?
So I guess it was a lot of comedy stuff at the start.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously when you're a kind of comedy dumb heel, I feel like you're kind of limited in what you can do. And I feel like wrestling's always changing, the business is always changing, and you need to change with it, or you become stale. So I think the Blood Tourist was it was naturally where I would progress to.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like especially in places like ICW, where I'd been wrestling since I was 16. I wasn't even old enough to be in the building when I debuted. And obviously there's a part of that where the crowd have almost kind of watched me grow up. You know what I mean? They've seen me going from a 16-year-old kid to a 23-year-old man with nearly 10 years experience now. You know what I mean? They've seen traveling the world and came back to them each time. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think part of it was going from almost being gone from like a boy to a man in some kind of aspects. In terms of how I really became the Blood Tourist, like I just changed my Twitter name and just told people I was a deathmatch wrestler. And that was pretty much it, man. Like I obviously, like I said, my first kind of experiences with wrestling was like ECW and all this kind of stuff. So it's always what I've watched. Like I was never this like huge comedy wrestling guy. I always liked it, you know what I mean? But what I really loved was the madness and brawling and rope people. I like to see a fight, you know what I mean? I like to see something with something with a bit of depth, you know what I mean? So yeah, I wanted to do that with my own career. I thought, how better to portray myself than by portraying what I love to watch, you know what I mean? I know what gets me going. I know what gets me excited and makes me love wrestling. So that's what I want to give to other people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I said, I was just sitting in the house one night and I went, nah, you know what? I'm a deathmatch wrestler now. I'm just gonna no. I've been asking for ages and ages and ages. Can you put me in a hardcore match? Can you put me in this kind of match? Can you put me in this kind of match? And people are like, no. We've got other guys that do that. You know what I mean? No, but you do this or whatever. And I was like, right, okay, if they don't see me as that guy, I'm just gonna be that guy. They can't see me any other way. So I changed my name. Krieger had just bought several different singlets to match each of my different set of skinny jeans, and then I showed up a pair of dungarees, and I was like, nope, this is what I wear now. I'm a hardcore wrestler. I wear dungarees. I'm badass. You know what I mean?
That's fantastic. Yeah, you mentioned Krieger there. He's, of course, your tag team partner.
Yeah.
He's, of course, your tag team partner. According to the internet, you go under multiple names.
Yeah.
You've been tag team champions in quite a few places.
Yeah.
What was the experience behind being in a successful tag team?
I mean, I've always been part of tag teams. I've been part of various different tag teams throughout my career. Krieger's obviously, Krieger are a career tag team. Even if we go and do our own thing, we always end up, back together at some point or in some other place. There's always one promotion that we're consistently working together, and usually that's ICW. But I mean, I love being a part of a tag team, and I love tag team wrestling as well. So again, it's a case of, like I said, with hardcore wrestling, I like to portray what I like to see. I was always a big fan of people like the Dudley Boys and Hardy Boys and stuff growing up. So again, that love for hardcore wrestling, I want to portray that in my own career. The hardcore tag team wrestling, sorry, as well.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's been a brilliant experience. Like I said, me and Deck are a bit of an odd couple at times. You know what I mean? Sometimes where he's buying matching neon gear so we look like a tag team, and then I'm always too busy trying to be the second coming in New Jack, whatever I'm up to at the time. I said that to him at one point. We were planning a match. It was like he'd come in, planned his little bit, and then went away, and then I'd come in and planned my bit, and they were just completely different. And I said to him, I was like, I'm over here trying to be New Jack, you're trying to be Kerry Von Erich. You know what I mean? Like we need to meet in the middle somewhere. But I think the main thing about me and Krieger is, even though we're two completely different wrestlers, and a lot of the time we're two completely different people, we're best mates.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And that's why we're a successful tag team, because
Absolutely.
regardless of the differences, we've still got that relationship. We've still got that chemistry, and we've been together for years. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know his stuff at the back of my hand, and he knows mine at the back of his hand. I know where he's going to go. I know how he's going to react to things. I know where he's going to be in the ring. And again, it's the same for him. He always knows, where I am. I can have a hold on, you know what I mean, and I can just stick a limb out, you know what I mean, and he'll
yeah,
find it
yeah.
for the tag, because you know what I mean, he knows where I'm going to be. And again, like I says, I know where he is. So it's been good getting to be part of a tag team for a while. I mean, like I said, I was part of a lot of tag teams, but they were kind of start, stop.
Right.
Or they just, came and went, lasted a couple of months, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would, I enjoy singles wrestling as well, but it was good to be part of a tag team that I could really sink my teeth into, and
Yeah,
really
yeah,
be a tag team, because there's a difference between being in tag matches and being in a tag team.
yeah. Of
You know what I
course.
mean? You can be in a tag team match and it's four separate wrestlers, or you can be in a tag team, and you know what I mean. It's a unit.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? A
yeah.
tag team versus a tag team is one unit versus another. You know what I mean? It's different. So yeah, it's been good to be able to sink my teeth in it and really, like I said, get to know each other, get to know each other's stuff, get to blend our stuff together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Create some of our own sort of tag team stuff, and work with some brilliant tag teams as well. I mean, we've got to work with guys like the Briscoes and stuff, and just we've wrestled the Pudge a million times. It's always brilliant fun getting to wrestle them.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've been going up and down the UK, so we've got to experience the tag team divisions in sort of numerous different parts of the UK, even out in in Denmark and stuff as well. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been amazing being a part of the tag team with Big Craiger, and it's going to continue to be. We'll try to settle on a name at some point, but I think right now we're the Ronin. We've been proper mental X, with quite a few.
That's cool. Yeah, yeah. Like you mentioning how close she's on, you can definitely see that. Like you see the chemistry, like with your ICW run. I mean, even in the short-lived 5-star. I mean,
Yeah,
you guys were. You could tell you were having fun. You weren't just invested. You were like you were 100% there. You were tuned in. You were ready to entertain us, if that makes sense. But you could
100%.
tell, yeah,
Like I said, it's all just having fun, and the job is so much easier to do when you enjoy it.
yeah,
It's so much easier to do when it's with, especially someone like Tiger, with, as I say, it's one of your best mates. So is it really a job? You know what I mean? Or are
yeah,
you just kind of pissing about with your mates and like like
yeah, yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Kovex, Twitch streamer, TikToker, social media influencer, and now proud owner of Beard Demon, Sinfully Good Beard Care. It all started off as, just a trial and error thing to make, some beard butters and stuff for myself, because I am a bearded man. And from there, I started, making some for friends who enjoyed them. And then I thought, this is something I could do, My friends like them, I like them. Why not share it with a wider variety of people so I could actually give back in a way to my community that I've grew on TikTok, Instagram, Twitch. And that's how Beard Demon came about. We have a 7 Deadly Sins collection at the moment, which obviously ranges from envy, wrath, lust, all different smells, all different profiles, which I'm really proud of. We're now branched out into our oils and our beard washes, and soon we're going to be having our full grooming kits, which is going to consist of a butter, an oil, our brand new Himalayan cedarwood and tea tree beard wash, which is amazing, and you get yourself a nice wooden comb and a pair of scissors to trim your moustache and stuff. It's the full grooming kit for, you know, as a present for one of your loved ones or a friend. I'm really proud of it. Check us out. All our links will be down below. Check us out on Etsy. Check us out on all social medias. Beard Demon Shop, Beard Demon on Etsy, Beard Demon Shop, and everything else. I'd really appreciate it. Stay awesome, guys.
Hi David, how are you?
Oh, Peter, man, I've been better. I'm really fed up and depressed, I can't lie.
What's wrong? What's been happening?
Man, I'm just really dissatisfied and really down as far as fulfilling my podcast needs right now.
What exactly are you looking for?
Maybe a DC Comics podcast?
Yeah, there's plenty of those.
Yeah, I know, but I need one that...
Chronicles the origins and the development of the DC Comics multiverse from before Clash of Two Worlds through to Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, exactly like that. And maybe something else as well that factored in the importance and the legacy of DC Comics Golden Age characters throughout the Silver Ages and Bronze Ages of comics.
That sounds epic.
It does sound epic. It sounds exactly the sort of podcast that I would listen to.
Shall we just do it ourselves then?
In many ways, we have the same mind. That's a great idea.
Fortunately, it just so happens I've built this handy transmatter cube.
That's perfect. Will that take us to Earth 2?
It'll take us to all of the multiverse.
Fantastic. Right then, what are we waiting for?
Let's go.
Transmitter device activated. Coordinates set for Earth 2.
The Earth 2 Podcast.
Check out our website at theearth2podcast.com.
You can find us on all the social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram as the Earth 2 Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter, podcast_Earth2. Join us, and we'll see you around the multiverse.
I'm the blood tourist every day of the fucking week. I'm scared of one thing and one thing only, and that's that I might never be scared of anything. I might never know fear. Look sharp.
Okay, so that's your success in the tag team division. You have had quite a bit of success as a singles wrestler as well. Is it
Yep.
DPW? You were their heavyweight champion?
Yeah, so that's Dansk Pro Wrestling, and they're based in Randers, Denmark, in the north.
Wow. And any other singles success that you could touch on, or just
So
waiting
I
for
think
that too?
I've had the majority of my career was spent doing singles wrestling. I think a lot of my high points were from tag team wrestling, obviously,
Okay.
with ICW, with Kreider, and with Rob Sharp as part of Super Sharp in China.
Of course.
But I've done a fair bit, of course, as a singles wrestler as well. Like I said, I've been across 11 countries, so getting to travel about Europe a lot. That's a big part of obviously being the blood tourist, is going and turning up in these different countries, anywhere and everywhere. So in terms of single success, I guess the biggest one for me, at least, the sort of favourite part of my career was definitely winning the DPW heavyweight title, because it showed it was a payoff for a lot of work. I'd been going to Denmark since I was about 16. First time I went there, I was a teenager. I showed up in Copenhagen at the wrong end of the country, like the opposite end of the country, with no idea where I was going. I tried to get a taxi there. As eventually I showed up, I slept on part of the ring mat, and it was a lot of sleeping on floors, and really, because even though I'd been doing a wee bit over here, I went over there and I was nothing, and I was no one, you know what I mean? I very much had to earn my place there, and that I did. And DPW led to a lot of stuff for me. It led to getting to go to Sweden and Norway and Finland, these other places in the sort of the north of Europe. And it took me into CCW as well. DPW was where I met Sebastian Day, who's the owner of Copenhagen Championship Wrestling. He's a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends. And we met at DPW. He was talking about this kind of vision that he had for CCW, and then once it all sort of came to fruition, I got to be a part of that. I got to see CCW grow, which again is one of the things that I'm sort of most proud of everything that I've done, was getting to be a part of sort of growing CCW. I remember the first time I went, I ran a camp. It was a training seminar. I was training their guys, and the show at the end of it, we didn't draw a lot of people. It was in Carlsberg's brewery, and it drew about maybe 30 people at most. And now they're selling out every show in advance as well. They're drawing, a good few hundred people, and the guys are getting so much better now. There's people from all over Europe wanting to reach out and come to Denmark and wanting to be part of CCW. You know what I mean? So it's good that we're really getting to take CCW, and not just CCW, Danish wrestling in general, and put that at the forefront of European wrestling. I've always said that, British wrestling had its big boom, and German wrestling has been the same with stuff like WXW, and I really, really do believe that next big boom is going to come from Denmark. That's going to be the next big scene that's going to be the next big scene in Europe. You got CCW in Copenhagen doing amazing things. DPW in Denmark, they were the first Randall, they were the first promotion there, and they've been doing excellent things for years and years. And there's Body Slam as well. So there's lots of good things happening over there. And like I said, one of the things I'm most proud of is being one of the guys that's sort of brought that to the forefront.
Yeah, of course. There's a picture. It's probably one of my favourite pictures of like your career. I'm sure it's just after. I believe it's when you've just won the title, and you're like kind of lying back. You're slumped. You've got the belt over you, but you're covered. But that's a good picture.
So I guess that's it's kind of appropriate that we started talking about Denmark after asking where the blood tourists came from, because they were the people that really sort of believed in it, and they sort of let me do it. And they the main reason they'd use me was because they loved all the comedy stuff. But when I says to them, this is what I want to do, they trusted it. Yeah. One of my good friends, Mikael, wrestles Nitro Green over there, so it was him that I was working with. And I just kind of told him, look, I want to get wild, I want to bleed, and whatever else. And like I said, I changed the Twitter name and stuff. I think a lot of people were like, well, what's this about? And then when I uploaded those pictures and stuff after it, I think it very much kind of explained what it was going to be going forward. I think that kind of set the tone very much. So yeah, I'd say in terms of single success, Denmark and in general is what I've been most proud of.
Brilliant. You moved over to China for a while? Yeah. How was that? I imagine that was something.
Yeah, China was a completely different world altogether. I lived there for about 3 months. I had some of my best experiences in life in general in China. I got engaged when I went to China.
Fantastic.
My fiance came to Shanghai and lived with me while I was there, and I was so blown away that, she literally came across the world to be with me.
I love that.
And then, and then in terms of the wrestling itself, it was an incredible experience. We were on national Chinese TV.
Wow.
We had our own place and stuff, and essentially I was getting paid the same amount I would be to like for the job that I was working here
Yeah.
to live in China and wrestle once a week, and I was, you know, it was insane. So I really did enjoy it. I got to meet a lot of brilliant people. I met Damon Devine and Buffa over there. They lived with us. Damon Devine's independent wrestler from California, and then Buffa is another indie wrestler he's from New York, but he's been all over the place. Wrestled a lot in 01 in Japan and stuff. Done a lot of stuff in Japan now. He's based in China, working for MKW now. So again, I got to meet lots of brilliant people. It was OWE that I was working for, so they had they've got a kind of working relationship with AEW, so it was good to, you know, sort of be
That's
in
cool,
that sort of picture, I guess.
Yeah.
But the scene over there is totally unique because it's like gone back in time in a sense, because they don't know that wrestling's a work. Wrestling's so new to them that they still think it's legit. And of course, it is legit to an extent, but they don't understand it. They don't get the concept of there's good guys and bad guys and things like that.
Of course.
And it was one of the Chinese tag teams had been celebrating, and I come in and it's basic sort of bad guy shtick that you would see on any show. It was like they were celebrating, and I start beating them down with a chair, and I'm shouting and bawling and whatever else. And like a riot kicks off, you know what I mean? Like, more or less, you know what I mean? People are swinging at me and stuff, and they take us all backstage. And I like, obviously at the time, I'm not thinking that it's kicked off as bad as it had. I just seen some people swinging at me and whatever else, and I'd had that before. I'd had people swing at me and stuff before, so it wasn't anything completely unique. And I goes backstage, I get changed. I was going to go out to smoke on the break in the show, and the booker comes round and he's like, no, you can't go outside, far too dangerous. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, far too dangerous. He was like, people that are waiting outside for you, you know what I mean? They're asking for you and they're waiting outside. So I'm like, okay, over there you can smoke inside anyway. I didn't feel natural doing it. They just felt uncomfortable. So I was like, okay, I can do whatever, I'll smoke here. And we lived. It was the same venue each week. They had like a kind of dojo that they also produced their shows from. And we live walking distance. Like the dojo was at the top of the street and we lived at the bottom of the street, so it was ideal. And so after the show, obviously we were all packed up, ready to go. And again, they're like, "No, you can't go home yet," because these people are still outside waiting. So we had to chill for like, you know, another half hour to an hour, like after the show, just until this sort of crowd dispels. And again, that was just because they didn't understand that, like, it's a character that we're playing. They thought we were coming and disrespecting China and all this kind of stuff and whatever else. So yeah, they were pretty pissed off, for lack of a better term. But yeah, they were pretty mad about it.
I love that. I asked the Glasgow shop if any of them had a few wee questions to run your way.
Okay.
Two of them are just, but a couple of them are actually wrestling related questions. So I'll start with Darren's. He is asking, how difficult was it to wrestle in skinny jeans? But then that got me thinking, so I was like, maybe is that what prompted the dungarees change?
Dungarees are significantly harder to wrestle in than
right,
jeans.
okay.
I had a system with skinny jeans, so I'd buy, and that's how I managed to get all these wacky colours and everything as well, because I bought women's skinny jeans.
Oh, okay.
Women's skinny jeans are like naturally, like, just in general, like they're naturally stretchier, but like especially like around like the sort of crotch area and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
So they're just like the fabric's just stretchier. So I would buy women's jeans, so they were really easy to wrestle. It was the exact same as wrestling in tights, pretty much. I mean, I did have a couple of pairs that were like a bit kind of tighter. I think they probably were actually guys' skinny jeans.
Yeah.
But most of them were all right. The dungarees, because it's actual, you know, denim, actual jeans. They're a bit kind of more restrictive. I kind of wish I hadn't changed sometimes.
I remember back once. I think it was around the time where you and I were filming the Body Shop advert. If you remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember you telling me a story that you were. I want to say you were down in England. You'd just done a show, and you were going out for a drink after or a meal after that
Yeah.
you forgot to bring regular trousers?
Yes, me and
I'll just
Aaron
show
Echo.
a picture of these trousers so as people can
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
that, you know, there's
Dude,
a big...
it was my orange pair. It was my bright orange pair that I was wearing.
with a massive logo.
Neon orange. So we'd went to Cardiff and I jogged. I was wearing like a trackie on the way down. And then I was like, oh no, I got nothing to go out in. You know what I mean? So I was like stuck with wrestling jeans on. And Aaron Echo the whole way, he's like, we are not getting in anywhere. This is a waste of time. No one is going to let you in like that. We got knocked back the first place we went to, very first place we went to, we got knocked back. That was the only knockback we got that night. Everywhere else let us in. everyone else was. People were kind of marking out for it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one had a clue what it was. I was just this random Scottish guy in neon orange jeans with "Pow Pow" written on my ass. It was a good night. It was Cardiff is always a good laugh, man. I loved it. It was Vertigo Pro Wrestling. I would go down there. I thought it was always good fun.
Well, I mean, if I seen that, I'd be like, right, the guy's definitely got cojones if he's wearing them. You know what I mean? I've got one here from Cameron. Cameron wants to know who is your dream opponent?
Dream opponent would be Sabu, I'd say. Yeah, tough as Sabu or Rockstar Spud, one of the two.
Okay.
Two obviously huge influences for me. Sabu was, like I said, one of the first guys I seen. I'd love to. I guess it's a dream opponent for two different sort of aspects of what I do. So in terms of the hardcore stuff, there's the Blood Tourist. I'd love to wrestle Sabu. I'd love to get wild and really sort of push it to the limits with someone like Sabu at least. And really, really show what I can do in the sort of hardcore scene, part of the hardcore division. I'd love to be able to tear up with Sabu. And then obviously I still do a lot of family show stuff. And I still enjoy doing it. I never stopped, loving doing the comedy stuff and making people laugh. So in that sort of aspect, I'd love to work with Rockstar Spud. I think he was kind of one of my first kind of dream opponents right from when I started, and a lot of the stuff I'd done, especially my early career, was essentially he could have sued me. I was ripping him off so much, you know what I mean? So definitely could be a really good blend there. I think it's kind of size thing as well. We're both smaller guys. I think we could do a lot of really funny stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Rockstar Spud or Sabu, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, you had just started. Your gimmick is Spud was in the boot camp, I believe. So like he was just kind of leaving.
Round about then.
Yeah.
When I first kind of started watching him, he was still on, obviously, just like the British indie scene. He was working a lot. I used to watch a lot of his matches from Southside. Specifically remember it was a match with him and Noam Dar. I used to watch. I would watch that match on repeat. I used to. YouTube was one of the only websites you could get on in school, and I'd spend the whole time watching wrestling matches and stuff. And I always remember I would watch Rockstar Spud matches from places like Southside. But yeah,
I mean, even his promo building up to the match with Noam, they put the wig on, and he was
they got the hands stuck in the hair and stuff. Yeah, it was like just excellent, man.
Yes, Spud's gold. I'd like to see that match. Absolutely.
100%.
We have Derek asking if you prefer to be heel or face. Derek's not actually a wrestling fan, so he says, do you like being a goodie or a baddie?
I prefer to be a heel. I think it's kind of more challenging in that kind of aspect. I think it's easy enough to make someone, if people are kind of programmed to cheer for the good guy, and they'll kind of cheer regardless if they feel like that's their kind of role. But as a bad guy, you can, if you're good at it, you can really make people hate you, and you can get a more genuine reaction out of people. It's the reactions. It's realer. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you got people swinging at you and stuff, that's people don't start throwing punches because they're in on it. You know what I mean? And because they feel like that's what they need to do. You know what I mean? But sometimes if you're a good guy, it's easy enough. You just go, "Come on, guys," and they're going to cheer anyway. You know what I mean? Most wrestling crowds they're just going to naturally cheer for the good guy. But like I said, I like to make people hate me, challenge myself a bit more. It's a bit harder as a performer to get that real reaction. So it's more satisfying when you do get it.
Yeah, I mean, I remember back this, and I'm talking years ago now, but like I remember there was one show I went to where almost every single match was, "Shall I splash him?" You know?
Yeah, yeah, because it's like you go to some of these shows and it's as if the guys are they got this book how to be a wrestler. You know what I mean? And they're flicking through it. Okay, will I splash him? Yeah, you know, raise hand. You know what I mean? And it's even the case for bad guys as well. It's like, who's the man? You know what I mean? Like they got these go-to things. But like I said, if you can really be a right nasty piece of work and get a real reaction out of people, then you can tell the difference. You know what I mean? It's a lot more satisfying because you know you're doing your job.
Andrew wants to know who is the best ring announcer in the UK and why is it Simon Cassidy?
Well, I would have to say it's Simon Cassidy. No, but Simon is excellent. 100%. There's no doubt about it. Especially in the UK, there's no one who comes close. In Europe, there's Aaron Hathaway out in Denmark, and I think he's a very, very close contender. He's actually from Minnesota, America, and he's moved to Denmark, but he's got like one of those like silk radio voices, like American radio voices, you know what I mean? So he's good, man. He's good. But it's certainly in the UK, Simon's the absolute best. Simon's got that kind of boxing feel to him, which I really like.
Definitely.
I think Simon. I don't know if he has done it before, but I certainly feel like he should and he could be doing that. If he wanted to, he could be doing boxing, MMA, because he's really, really, really good at capturing that big fight feel. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I've got a question here from Gary that's just, I'll just read it. Gary wants to know, what's worse? Having a baby with full adult gnashers, having a baby who has the ability to bark like a dog, or having a baby who has the ability to laugh like an old man? Now, I think he's meaning a newborn here. So let's just pretend.
I'm going to go with the full set of teeth. I think that's probably the creepiest. Like the baby with the old man voice, I can kind of get behind that, but the full set of teeth would throw me off, I think.
Yeah. There you go, Gary.
And what was the middle one again?
The middle one was a baby born with the ability to bark like a dog.
Yeah, again, I could get behind that. Get behind that.
Yeah,
because can it communicate with dogs? Does it just make dog noises, or does it full on? Can it talk to other dogs?
See, now you've made me want to know more about the question.
Exactly. You need to expand on that.
And do you think how like when you're around kids so much and they start to make certain noises and you just understand that, oh, he's asking for a banana? Do you think eventually you'd start to understand the baby's barks?
Maybe you could start to pick up on it. You still got facial expressions, you know what I mean?
Well, that's true. Yeah. Super quick game. Maybe not even a game. Maybe just a challenge, because you might have already done this. But have you ever Googled yourself?
I have, mate. I have to.
Yeah, right. Okay. So you might already be really good at what we're about to do. So we're going to play a quick game called "What Does Looking Sharp?" So I put this into an incognito search. I wanted to see the top two, and then I wanted to ask you them. So the top two searches on "What Does Looking Sharp" are: what does looking sharp do? And what does looking sharp mean? So what do you do and what do you mean?
I think I'll start with what does looking sharp mean, because what might seem like a very obvious one to a lot of people is went clear over a lot of people's heads. Looking sharp actually means looking sharp. But a lot of people, and I feel daft saying that, but yeah, a lot of people really didn't catch on to that.
Yeah.
And in terms of what does looking sharp do, looking sharp cuts about trying to be mental. He is mental. Looking sharp is mental. He cuts about, wrestles, travels the world, and is just trying to live the dream.
Perfect. I do remember when you debuted, and I don't even remember who it was. I was like, do you know what his gimmick is? And they were like, it's looking sharp. And I was like, do you know, I think that sounds like, like a rich, like one of the people you're like, I don't want to talk to him. He's pure rich. He's stuck up, looking sharp. It went right over my head. Yeah, I didn't think to. I think it was genuinely like about 2 years later when Jackie Polo was commentating for ICW, and Billy, like you were doing like a security, I think, and Billy mentioned your height, and Jackie Polo was like, "Oh, that man is looking sharp." I was like, "Oh no, I get it."
It took even my dad didn't catch on at first. You know what I mean? Like it takes people a while sometimes, which is surprising. Like I said, I thought it was pretty obvious, but clearly not.
So I've got a bit of what does Lou King Sharp? So this is like my own question. So
yeah,
what is Lou King Sharp's magnum opus, or has it even happened yet?
I don't think I'm far from my magnum opus. I'm 23 years old. I got a lot of learning to do myself. Got a lot more places to go. Like I said earlier on, I've been a lot of places, but I've got a lot more that I've still to go to. And yeah, this is just the beginning. Like this is only the start. I'm not even halfway there. Yeah, I'm not even halfway to my prime yet.
Yeah.
And if you've been enjoying the journey so far, then you're only going to enjoy where it's headed, because it's gone to the moon as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. I've tried to cater this around you. Like obviously you don't write comics, you don't draw comics, you're a professional wrestler. So I'm going to have you book maybe like a summer storyline or a WrestleMania storyline. It doesn't even need to be in the WWE actually. So your location is going to be Madison Square Garden. So that's your end point.
All right.
Your characters are 1999/2000 Undertaker and 1999/2000 Sting. So you've got two options here. You can either have the end of the Crow Sting era taking on the end of the Dark Ministry Undertaker, or we've got like the 2000s Metallica Sting versus the 2000s American Badass. How would you book their storyline and who would go over?
You're some sort of species that has different variants in different parts of the world.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That all these people are seeing, like Yetis. You know what I mean? Like in the snow, it's just a snow Bigfoot. You know what I mean?